But Jose, that finishes your yard work in less than 2 hours. He's your problem, right? Okay, got it. You got it. You right.
Does it have a name?
You got it, Donald.
Yeah, I covered my father's name.
Okay, so it's a male.
Now, US, you can go vote without ID, but you cannot walk outside without ID.
Is that right? It's a dude.
Make it make sense.
Hallelujah.
Said hallelujah.
Got a whole city of Mexicans.
Like an unknown gender.
Oh,
Yeah, it's sad, dog. It's fucking sad.
Like, and you know what's so funny? I've been seeing these fucking TikToks, these fucking farmers who voted for Trump and are mad because they're getting their workers are getting deported. It's like, you fucking voted for this. Fuck up.
Look, I don't know why you keep.
You literally voted for him. You dumbass.
That means Miami's done being built. Because that's all I see down there.
Yo, go look up. The media's not gonna show you this. You have to literally go on Telegram. I go on Telegram to find myself. And you just see crazy videos, bro, of like people, like ranches, people like calling for closure on their businesses. Fucking, they're getting their shits foreclosed on, like, because they have no workers.
It's ridiculous.
Did you not have a father growing up?
No, I have, it's a male. It's a man. My father is my dad, and
I have my cousin on there, so she just DMs me the shits, but hold on, I got you.
Did your father love you?
Let's do it right now.
All right, so you know what a father is.
yeah. So when I asked
And also
you,
Reddit?
God,
Oh, man, y'all on
what do you
Reddit?
say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have 3 majors on this
Bullshit
subject.
you guys do. This is what
So
makes us laugh.
I'm obsessed
It's just
with this.
fucking bullshit. I don't think you believe this at all.
Nah, it's no. Hey, look, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. I got a phone call the other day. Somebody wanted me to see where their folks was locked up at, but I don't. ICE is so different than law enforcement. 12 don't even know what the fuck is going on out here.
So,
Are you law enforcement? Is that you?
Yeah, but I don't be involved with that type of stuff.
I got you. But is it true that people were deputized? Is that true? No.
I'm still a DO. I stay in jail. I deal with law enforcement all day, but I'm with SO, but the thing is, I don't put myself out there like that. All my friends are deputies. I don't be out there trying to get involved like that.
I completely understand.
I want to though, and they're wasting my time right now. So I got all my officer friends trying to see what's going on because some of these counties out here acting like they fully staffed or not. But I know they desperate for people. But everybody just fucked up out here. Like literally, we don't have nobody in law enforcement to bike units, to courthouses, to the jails. The inmates are damn near overrunning the jails now. We're fucking short staffed as shit.
It's a shit show.
Now we're like, go home with your own fucking radios and shit and your own everything. And if y'all need ambulance or help, just hit us up on the radio. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And we're the biggest sheriff department out here. It's just shitty out here, for real. I was in my car yesterday and I'm calling my cap. And I'm just like, cap, if you're trying to write me up this and that. And she like, don't fucking worry about it. The fucking sheriff is going through a fucking lot right now. They leasing your fucking workers. You take care of yourself and just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like fucked up out here.
It's bad though. It's really bad. Like they're making everybody just take everyone. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. I already had a whole lot of folks that resigned and everything. I even hit a resign since January talking about I'm at home living my best life. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, damn, this shit is like, yeah. This shit is horrible, bro.
First day, it's not
Yeah, I just pray for everybody. Everybody's shit is going the fuck up. Like, everybody's shit is turning the fuck up right now. By the way, I don't know who asked me for videos, but I'm sorry, I mixed them up. It was on TikTok. Sorry. The videos for that one is on TikTok. I sent one in the chat. You see this guy in my PTR? That's the next mayor of New York City. That's Bay right there. That's the next mayor of New York City.
I see the one that when they were doing the whatever it was. He said that everybody was saying that how their first place that they're gonna go is to Israel, and he says I'm gonna stay right here in New York.
Exactly. Like, why is the mayor of New York going to Israel? What the fuck is that?
Oh,
no, what is that? Stay in New York. Sit your ass in New York City. Sit your ass down. Fuck you going.
So Mozzie, I did some research, and since 1966, that to recently, there has only been 2 Republican mayors. So we have good odds.
Nah, listen. Once he beat Cuomo, I think it's good. I think isn't the one of the Republican guys the guy with that used to be the guardian angel, the weirdo. Remember in the 80s he was the guardian angel.
Yeah. He's still around.
I think he's one of the Republican candidates. I'm not even paying attention to. I was just paying attention to Cuomo and him and
and he's running. Cuomo's running as an independent because he's not done.
He is.
He is.
Ah, fuck.
He just announced that shit today, little bitch.
Yeah, but
you know what though?
He couldn't win the APAC money. He's not like in New York.
Same thing. If he lost, he was gonna do the same thing. But now him winning is big, bro. That's history.
Yeah, definitely.
I cannot wait. Yo, I love New York, bro. Fuck. Every time somebody asks me where you from, I never say America. I'm not from New York. How you doing?
Yeah, I do the same
That's his own country.
We are our own country. We are. But did you know 2024 and 2025, a New York City is the best city in the world? Did you know that?
Period.
No, seriously. They did a study on it.
We're clearly the majority on the stage right now, guys.
No, but I mean, we clearly are, but I'm just saying, I have facts to prove it. The London is second and Paris is third.
Paris smell like piss and garbage. Period. Yo, these bitches try to rob me twice. No, fuck that. That place is terrible. Got gypsies everywhere. You trying to see the Eiffel Tower, you gotta watch your bag. Like, what's going on? I'm trying to be romantic. I can't be romantic right now.
Well, you trying to put the lock on the little thing?
No, I ain't doing all that. I don't know about all that. But like,
there's a spot where it's a bridge where you put a lock on with your.
Yeah, it's close. I passed it, but I didn't put a lock. It's booked up, sis. Like, you gotta go all the way, find a spot in the cut. Like, it's it's mad.
Paris is weak, bro. You go a couple times.
No. I'm not gonna front. Like, it's ghetto as hell. Like there's gangsters over there. Like, I see some shit.
No,
okay.
Not weak in that sense. I'm saying weak. Once you go like you go a couple times, you had enough of your dose of Paris.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if my family didn't live there, I wouldn't beat it. Like,
no, danger-wise, Paris is no joke. Like,
it's no joke. Like, my cousin was the plug on the block. Like, I see some shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the exact opposite from us. Like, the cities is where I hate to say it,
the suburbs are fucked up more.
Yeah, the suburbs in Paris is where all the ghettos is at and stuff like that. Yeah. I was like,
my family's from 92 though. My family's next to the park where the PSG plays, soccer team. It's a nice little area. But they used to live in the slums, bro. I was terrible business people. Terrible business. And they found out you're American, bro, you gotta book it every time, bro. You can't even wear Jordans. What the fuck? I was 15 years old. You know we were all Jordan heads when we were 15. You know how it was. You get your Jordan, you get your matching belt with the Jordan, you match your little headband with your Jordan, the colors.
I still match my headbands. I'm still matching my headbands.
You have to.
It's fucking amazing. Like,
you couldn't wear that when there was fuck that. They gonna rob your shit for that. So come back in your underwear. No.
Theism is kind of breaking down. It's just a joke. It's a facade. It's based on bullshit.
But yeah, this is gonna be on there.
What the fuck's going on? And it's kind of getting tired.
As a Muslim, I feel very good.
I'm pretty good at this, I think. Honestly, I pat myself on the back. I feel fine about it.
I'm very
proud about styles and taste.
Well, first of all, New York City is one of the financial capitals of the world, so that's
so I feel okay, personally.
To be the mayor of New York City is like.
But yeah, as far as the theism,
that's a big thing.
Nah, that's history.
What they do, and it's just underwhelming. Holy fuck.
No, I
remember Bloomberg was mayor for like 3 terms. He didn't want to give up being mayor.
Yeah, but us millennials, we remember him not letting us stay home from school during the snow days. Fuck him.
Yeah, that's true.
He just up there. All the Suffolk County and Nassau County got off. Huh?
You know they did it again. Now these kids don't even got a snow day.
Yeah, they all do vocalism.
Yeah, go do it on your.
Yeah, but Wednesday, when I was growing up, we couldn't even get Ramadan off. Now they get Ramadan off.
Yeah, we used to have to get a no from our parents.
Sorry, not Ramadan, Eid.
Yeah, we had to get a note
Well,
from our
that's because
parents.
the population has changed.
Yeah.
I also did a study. I also realized that there's, out of all the cities in America, New York has the most Muslims.
In my opinion. You're like,
Is that a fact?
That's amazing.
Is that a
Yeah,
fact?
go Google it.
Is that true now? Because it used to be Michigan. Is it us now?
No, it's New York.
Way better.
For real?
Mars is just kind of
Yeah.
okay.
I gotta check that. That's crazy.
Google it.
You're going to
A
fucking
lot of them in the Bronx, they have a little Yemeni town over there.
Come on.
The Yemenis are everywhere, bro.
It says Illinois then New York. What the fuck?
Oh, is it? Oh, damn.
I don't like that. No, it says New York on some of them. Wait.
What did you want?
Wait, what website should I use?
City-wise, not state, city-wise.
Oh, sorry.
Out of all the cities in America, New York has the most Muslims, city-wise.
Yeah, and is it in the future, P. Mars? Hello?
Hello?
I find it interesting that like people will say you're going to hell as opposed to saying you're in hell right now, because I think that the now is actually all there really is. Because if you look at it in terms of like the now, our memories is not what's real. The situation now is always the real situation. Your memories are like recordings that you play to yourself that takes you out of reality. And it's the same thing about thought projection of the future, using your imagination. So, P-Mars, what do you mean when you say he's going to hell?
I mean, like right now, I promise you that if you don't repent, you're going to hell.
Going to hell. And so, what is going to hell? What does that mean to you, P-Mars?
What does it mean to you? And then I'll tell you if it's the same thing.
I don't think that it means anything, because there is no hell and no one is going anywhere in the future. You'll still be in the now.
What?
Hello?
What?
Hello?
What?
Hello?
What?
Hello?
What?
Hello? Hello? So I gave you my definitions. Can you can you define what you're saying? Hello?
What? What?
Okay, he's all yours, Honey Badger.
What?
Yeah, I'm not. P-Mars is just a bored of you, dude. Like, notice he hasn't said anything.
Well, he said you're going to hell unless you repent now, and he said what about 10 times?
Yeah. So, okay, P-Mars. Am I with God right now? Alright, this guy sucks, dude. I don't put 5 million. It's just boring, dude. It takes too long. These guys are just fucking retards, dude.
So, Honey Badger, do you think there's this thing called the future?
Well, yeah, in some sense about how human minds process information. Yeah.
But it's not actually real. It's still in our mind.
Yeah, because at any point I could drop in. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is the human brain is so powerful and capable, it actually thinks that there's this thing called the future, meaning that it's like this linear timeline, and that, next Thursday, I mean, that's like scheduling and coordinating, but that's not actually the future. The future is always now. It sounds cliche or, new age spiritual, but if you really contemplate it, you'll realize life is like Groundhog Day. I mean, there's this saying that like all the anxiety that you can experience now won't make a difference to whatever is going to happen. But truly, if you do want to change the future, the only way to change it is now. Meaning, if you change yourself, you might change your outcome for the better, and there's still no guarantee that it's going to be better per se. But I mean, that's why I think the Bible is important, because the information in there is psychological and emotional in nature. And so the greater your emotional and psychological durability and strength, the greater the chances are of your now or your future, or even your past, being modified for a better now.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. And that's, I think, the thing that distinguishes us is just simply that we're the kind of animal that at least we can identify in each other, and amongst the others that kind of thinks in these parameters. I don't know what an octopus thinks about, or orcas, or freaking corvids or anything, but it doesn't seem like they're necessarily framing things in this way.
They are emotional, though. Have you ever seen a horse cry?
Yeah, no, I think other animals definitely have emotional intelligence. For some reason, it seems like we're shape-shifting based on mental states, right? We're influencing the material environment that all the animals share with ideas that we have in our heads, right? I mean, that's pretty nuts. Not saying that it's better, right? I'm not saying that, but that does distinguish us, and that trips me out. So there's a lot to go on, lots to think about.
But I mean, you don't see a horse being political. You don't see your dog being political. So.
But what you could say that they are in a relative sense, right? Like if you watch dogs, I don't like dog parks, it's dumb. But if you go to a dog park where you happen to be by one and you look, there's fucking politics going on, dude.
It's nonverbal, though. I mean, maybe you could say a dog's barking is, if you're walking by a house and a dog barks at you, is the dog gaslighting you because it wants you to look at him to give his brain the dopamine feedback?
Yeah, but it's a lot more layered than that. There's a lot of body language, posturing. There's a lot of pheromone stuff going on that we're not even aware of. There's tons of shit going on amongst other creatures that we're not identifying.
Well, that's what's happening when people come in your room and they play the game with you. If they don't give you what you want, that's their form of politically one-upping you or verbally one-upping you.
It's an attempt, yeah, which I think is stupid. Why even come up? You know what I'm going to ask you. You know what I'm going to do. It's just...
Because that's their strategy. The brain, it's really brain versus brain. And so, I mean... regardless of the sound, the voice, the person, the personality, it's still like a pink fleshy thing in your skull cap, which is gaming other pink fleshy skull caps.
Have you talked with 118 before?
Yeah, you're all going to hell.
Yeah, see, like that. So 118, here's the thing. When someone who claims to believe in anything biblical regarding gods and supernatural forces and outcomes, and they start off like that, it just more solidifies my belief that you guys take that seriously. And it's okay. It's mostly pride, right? It's at this point, you guys are just so sunk in, and it's part of pride.
You're so easy, honey badger. Come on, man.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I agree with you, dude. I'm laughing with you, dude. I'm not even condemning you. I'm just I think it's all mostly ego at this point.
I just think it's funny. First thing that fucker says every time he comes in the room, you're going to hell. You're all going to hell.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you know it's a joke, right? You said it as if that was going to be really funny. And the fact that it's even said and then joked about, is there a hell or not? 118, is there one?
I don't think there's a place that you're going to go when you die and burn for all eternity. I think a lot of people get trapped in hell in their own minds right here on earth.
Yeah, or just right now, right? You have hell or you don't have. something like
Exactly. There's an old a poem from like the 1920s. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but referencing something like, a mind is a world of its own. And understanding that concept, you can find heaven on earth and hell in heaven. And don't get me wrong, I still believe in a creator, God. I don't necessarily think that you need organized religion to have an intuitive outlook on the world and see that it's created from an intelligent being. However, I think that organized religion has really implicated the politics right behind it and used it in such a way that almost has mind control to control the population.
You could say though that it could liberate the population just as much as it can control the population. It's all a game, and the people who have the linguistic capabilities are part of that game for domination in what you would consider to be the superior intelligence.
So you think liberation is tricking people into following false ideologies?
No, what I'm saying is, like, in a despotic, tyrannical government, a religious leader can arise and use the linguistics from these books to liberate the people. And that's basically what Jesus did. He was in a meat grinder against the Romans, against his own people, and he was preaching liberation against political tyranny, against religious tyranny. So it is all liberation theology.
Jesus was a communist. I understand that. That's no problem.
Well, what kind of communist? Like a 1940s communist, or like what exactly? Like a Jewish terrorist, Bolshevik communist? Like what kind of communist was this guy? See, when I hear people talk shit about Jesus or talk shit about Donald Trump, that immediately piques my ears, and I say, you know what? I don't like people that talk shit about anybody.
Why do you think saying Jesus was a communist is talking shit? Do you not believe in like?
Well, it's a facetious, meaningless comment. It's like saying, 2 strawberries is better than 3 strawberries.
So tell me this. So when Jesus says pay the worker, right, that only worked an hour, the same amount as he paid the worker that worked all day, what do you think that is? What do you think that's representing?
I don't know. Maybe communism?
Oh, I don't know. I just like to talk shit because I don't know what I'm talking about. See, this is the kind of shit that pisses me off about people when I make a comment like that and they open their mouth and the next thing comes out as bullshit. Can't defend their fucking.
Really? So me calling out your bullshit now becomes my bullshit. Okay.
What does Jesus mean when in that parable, in that phrase, when he says pay the guy the same amount for his wages and his labor as the guy who worked all day? What is the reference there? Just answer that question.
I don't know. Which Bible passage is that? Let me look it up so we can discuss it in greater detail.
Are you trying to like...
No, I'm serious right now. Give me the chapter and verse so we can have a very thorough conversation, because I don't think your quote is actually very accurate. It's just my opinion.
Did you switch into like troll mode real quick?
Yeah, I can switch into troll mode very quick. When I hear people say that Jesus was a communist, now I know right away they're very stupid. Oh, welcome back to hell. Welcome to the hell show. I thought it was a barbecue roast. Turns out that this barbecue party's in a place called hell.
What do you have against communists? Are you anti-communist?
I am done communicating with you, number 118. Please return back to your receptacle to recharge and receive further information and instructions.
All right. What's going on?
Jesus is a communist. Didn't you know that, honey?
No. So what's going on? 118? Are you like? So you're not a Christian, or you are? You a Christian? 118?
I think he's tried to explain it to us a few times now.
What did he say? I had to walk away for a second.
It's a little bit more on the spiritual side. I don't think he's gonna commit to a denomination or anything. And he has some unorthodox ideas. That's about it.
118. Do you think that you're saved?
What do you mean being saved?
Okay, so you're not a Christian then.
Like, are you in good standing with God? Are you going to heaven when you pass away in the afterlife? Like, you're saved by Jesus. You're saved.
Well, yeah,
saved.
He didn't know what I mean. If he was a Christian, he wouldn't ask that. That's why I just determined that he's not a Christian.
I'm hitting them with all the loaded language that the Christians use.
All the loaded language.
Have you let Jesus into your heart?
Yeah. Are you saved or not?
Have I accepted Jesus as the light and the truth and the only way to the Father?
Look, dude, if you want to play games, that's fine. Look, I understand it's hard.
I've explained my position to you before, Honey Badger.
Well, I'm just asking you right now.
Okay, so I'll explain myself again. As far as say that I'm a Christian, right? I do believe in the teachings of Christ. I do believe in loving our neighbor, right? I believe in.
You're just a dad.
So, if you want to say that I'm a Christian in that sense, then sure.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an acronym you can use. Sadakmak Bibtaj. You heard that?
Yeah. Is that near the G-spot?
Is it like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
No.
If you say it like that, then yeah, I understand that, John.
No, it's an acronym. It just means, so I don't consider myself a Christian, but I follow the teachings of Jesus.
There you go.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So,
by definition, though, a Christian is someone who follows the teachings of Christ.
So I kind of agree with you in the sense that I don't think you have to believe Jesus is God to be a Christian. I think as long as you think maybe he's the most moral person who ever lived, or his ethics were just incredible, that would make you a Christian.
Right. Beyond his time, it was.
Okay. You don't think he was God himself?
Oh, see you never.
Oh, no.
See, maybe.
I think the whole Trinitarian thing is whack, anyways.
Do you believe he's the Son of God?
I'm agnostic about that 50-50, man. It could be a possibility.
So no, not technically. If someone were to ask you if you believe it, you'd say not really, because you don't, right?
Actively, I said.
Yeah, but you don't actively believe that he's the Son of God, do you? See what I mean? You can't be 50-50, dude. It's like, oh, I kind of do, but, half of me says yes. Half the evidence appears to point, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think half the evidence says yes, and the other half says no.
Yeah, see, you're not 50-50. This is what I'm talking about, dude. You guys say these, baby talk phrases and shit about what you guys
want, dude. Do you want me to just be, have this open, sincere, heartfelt conversation with you with, fucking John the Troll on stage and, all these atheists and all this other bullshit?
John the Troll on stage? What does that mean, the troll? What is that? I'm not a human. I'm not communicating intelligently. What is it that makes me a troll? I find that to be very political.
Truly vulnerable in front of us right now. Also in front of these strangers,
Yeah, I don't
That's what we want.
Look, 118, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, right? And I don't want you to feel like you're going to be trapped like most Christians do, when you ask them simple questions.
Well, you know better than that, dude. I'm an honest walker. I have no reason to bullshit about things.
Yeah. And I don't want you to feel like you're on the back foot or you have to be wary or anything like that, because a lot of Christians feel like that, So I don't want you to feel like that. And I don't need you to be all heartfelt. I'm just, like I said, you know what I'm here for, right? I don't need to talk about doll's sheep.
Honestly, I don't know what you're for.
Or wolves, right? I don't need to talk about wolves with you in Alaska, right? I don't need to talk about salmon or snowmobiling or anything. I can ask you about God stuff, and if you don't want to open up about that, that's okay.
We've already had the discussion about God stuff about beliefs a million times, but if you would like to go through it again, right, refresh the memory, we can do it.
Okay, yeah, because I guess I didn't get it the
first time. So, do you believe that God does things in my reality?
I think reality is static for everyone, and I think God does perform actions in reality. So that answers your question.
Okay. And how can I tell when it's God doing something or not? Or is he just responsible for all things?
God's not responsible for all things. That's for sure, right? God set in the motion for things to happen, but he's not responsible for all things. We have this thing, right, called free will.
So he intentionally set things up to happen later on?
God started things off, right, and gave humans free will. Like, are you talking about, like, moral actions, or are you talking about, like, the amount of trees that's growing? Or are you talking about, like, the fucking amount of McDonald's that's popped up? Like, what exactly do you mean when you said that God set things up for the future to happen?
Well, the same thing you mean. You're the one who said that he got things moving. And then...
Hold on, I moved mover, the creator of all things that you know of.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I'm asking for clarification. I don't know what you mean. So
I think God started the world, right? I think God created the world, the universe, our environment, set it up, right? Created human beings, gave us free will. Put morality on our hearts so we can know right from wrong in this world when we observe things. Yeah.
Okay. Did Adam and Eve have anything to do with this? Are they real people in your life, or is that just kind of metaphor?
Oh, man, you know, I tell you what, this is a
story, kind of a Jewish tale.
I think more and more, I think that Adam and Eve used to be one being. And I think they were a light being created in God's image. And I think they were pretty powerful and was able to, like...
What was the gender of this one being? Were they androgynous?
I don't know. But what I think happened is fucking it pissed Satan off, right? So Satan decides to split Adam and Eve up into two different beings.
It was Satan that did that? Oh my God!
Physical bodies, and now, right, they were scared of him, so the reaction of being scared of him was worshiping him. And I think maybe that might be the God of the Old Testament.
Fear. Are you sure? So wait, you're saying the snake did the separation of the genders and created Adam and Eve? It wasn't God, the Father?
You said you were done talking to me. What the fuck are you doing speaking to me?
Why are you using profanity? Are you upset about something? I'm just asking about your interpretation of the Bible. It's a fascinating interpretation, number 118. But I guess I shouldn't speak with you. Please go back to your receptacle and receive new energy and new information and for your storage. Thank you, number 118.
Hey, Lamb Chop down there in the audience. I would just, it's just dumb, dude. You always sound dumb when we talk. I don't believe you for like a minute that you believe 40% of the shit that you said. So when you're ready to talk, come on. Yeah, none of this makes sense, 118. So I asked you, it was very simple. So you think God's kind of surprised at the outcomes? Is that what's going on?
Surprised.
Yeah, like he didn't know it was coming, because it's like it seems like you want to say he started it all, right? Then it almost seems like you make a little more like a deistic God, like you're like, yeah, he started it all, but he's not really sure what was going to happen, and then all this other stuff started happening.
Well, it's I think that God knows all things, but I think that the only reason that God knows all things is because he sets outside of time. He sets outside of our time frame. Now, it would be almost contradictory, right, to say that God knew all things before he created us and gave us free will, right? There seems like there's a contradiction there. Why would we need free will if God knew all things already, right? I think God knows all things that we have done before we do them, because something like John was saying earlier, you know, if you look at it like the future doesn't exist, it's already happening, it's right now, then of course God's already going to know, right?
So what you're saying is the now is a compression of the past and the future?
And don't forget the present. I mean, yeah. Past, present, and future. That's how God sees things. We can't see things that way, obviously.
How do you, wait, so you just like, I mean, do you think that you have a good grasp on how God sees things?
Dude, I don't know jack shit about God.
You don't know jack shit. That's my position. Is you don't know jack shit.
I don't know anything 100% about what God thinks.
No. I don't even think you know how a minuscule percent, dude. This is the thing. I don't think you know. I agree with you. You don't know jack shit about what God thinks about or does.
There's brown
Maybe
shoes.
that's true. Maybe I don't. Why would you
Stop saying?
Why would you even know
God
that I
didn't do this because that means
you're not asking me, look, you're not asking me what I think God is sitting
Bad sense of
around,
style.
like, you know, thinking about all the
Even
time, right?
worse.
You're asking me about God's actions, right, that I can reflect on already, right? That it's things that's already done.
Yeah, but what if I?
Yeah, but what, motherfucker?
Yeah, but what if I told you that I actually had revelation from a different being than the God that you're kind of confining to these parameters that you speak of, and it let me know that you've
These
fallen
brown
for
shoes
it,
are the black suit.
right?
Bad
And
sense of
part
style
the
and even
bigger
worse
test is that
personality,
some of
twisted
you gullible
demented perception of
motherfuckers are going to
reality.
believe these lame little stories and talk like this, and it's
Those brown shoes are the black suit.
revelatory truth that I received. Would you believe me?
Yes, Honey Badger, I done told you, Sensei, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, see, this is endless, dude. So it's just, look,
Wait,
what I'm saying.
tell the truth, motherfucker. Share your truth with everybody. I think you're being selfish right now. If you know the ultimate truth and you're keeping it all to yourself, man.
I agree. Listen, you're with me, dude, because this is why when we talk to people like Andrew R. or Sheep of the Lord, right? Or Tim, right? Or these dorks that pretend that they talk to God. Whenever I ask them, just like I asked this chick who used to be here, she was sabotaging, or actually hijacking, rather, Cool Man's icon. Fooled me for a second. I thought Cool Man was in here, so I goaded him. But whenever we ask them, tell us something important and compelling that God or
He's not okay with being straight. We're talking about Zach.
They never.
I was talking about orgasms, the different types of orgasms, and then I was told to shut up because it was being extreme, but whatever, I'll talk about the
I don't need to share that with you. And I'm like, you're telling me that Jesus gave you information and talks to you, and you don't want to share the word of Jesus with everyone else? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah,
This is bullshit, dude. This is fucking bullshit, 2018, and you know it.
Like I said, man, I think there's something deeper to being a human being and having intuition and being able to observe our world that you can kind of self-reflect on, right? You don't need a denomination or organized religion to look into the world and see synchronicity and see that things work harmonious and that they're connected.
Wait, I just make sure I don't believe this. Because earlier you were referencing when I made comments about Adam and Eve and stuff, we started talking about Satan and shit. It's like, where do you get these ideas from?
Oh, you know, just hearing that.
Yeah, like the Bible and stuff, religious stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the Bible does say, right, that Satan is the fucking god of this world and the prince of darkness, the morning star, right? It says that Satan
the fallen angel
is over this world.
Is he a fallen angel too?
Well, yeah, according to the Bible and scripture.
Yeah, I mean, according to the Bible. So you believe that Lucifer was one of God's first angels? Right?
Do I believe that Lucifer was one of God's first angels? I mean, if you're going by the narrative of the Christian narrative, of the biblical Christian narrative of the story, then yeah, that's what it says, man.
Okay, look, dude. See, this is the kind of bullshit you guys pull too. You pretend that you believe something, and then you give us.
I'm not a fundamentalist, dude.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think there's a fine line, right?
Look, all I did is ask you, right? What was your answer? You started referencing other books. Just tell me, dude. Do you think Lucifer is a fucking fallen angel?
Yes.
See how easy that was? Instead, you're like, well, you know, if you were to go off like what, you know, the story is of the Christian Bible and stuff, like, why do you say all that stuff? Either you believe it's true or not. I don't have to tell you any kind of any preamble about it. All I have to do is go, no, I don't believe that's true because, you know what, I think the Bible's fiction. I don't think Yahweh is a real God. I don't think Allah exists. I think it's all fiction.
You know why? Why don't you think Yahweh is real?
Oh, I just think it is obvious that men wrote it.
Well, okay, just so a man wrote it, that means it's not real. So you're telling me because Eddie Crocker writes
That's not all. No,
is that what you're saying to me?
No.
Well, that's what it sounded like.
Okay, here, I'll give you an example, okay? Have you ever seen Star Wars?
Honey Badger, I wanted to ask you, have you ever read the Egyptian Book of the Dead?
No, hold on. 118, have you ever seen Star Wars?
You know I have.
Hey, I don't know that, okay?
Yes, you do. You know that just like you know that God exists.
Oh my God, see, this is where we go. Okay, so I can acknowledge that men write books, and I can also acknowledge that some of them are fiction. And that's the class that I put the Bible in.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's like a mythos.
That automatically makes the Bible fiction. Okay, I got you.
No, I'm saying, in my opinion, based on what I've assessed, it seems to be mostly a myth.
Oh, so you're using the fallacy of appealing to your own emotions. I understand.
Honey Badger, when you asked him if he's ever seen Star Wars, my point about bringing up the Egyptian Book of the Dead is that Star Wars is just the updated version of the Bible.
Ah, okay. All right, but I don't want to get off track here, so I want to pin this guy. So, 118, do you understand what I'm saying is that I can read books and just consider them fiction and not think they're talking about real things? And that's what I seem to get from the Bible, just like you do when you talk about the Quran, right? You read the Quran and you're like, yeah, I don't know, nothing much to see here. I'm just doing that with your book.
I love how you sneak in these little below the belt jabs and when you use terminologies and words like your God and your book. That's real clever, dude. I mean, I gotta give it to you, right? That's.
What's incorrect about how I framed it? Because it ain't my God. I don't think gods exist. You do.
Well, just because you don't think God doesn't exist doesn't mean jack shit, right? Doesn't mean that you're.
That's right. It doesn't matter what I think.
It doesn't matter.
Right. So what you're saying,
in this world, right? There either is a creator God, or there isn't.
Okay.
And not both of us can be right.
Okay.
And so, using all the provided information, right, and using personal testimony as evidence from the majority of the world, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to have to go with the consensus on this.
Right.
General, where are you from? I can't come on over.
So my question to you is whether or not the US is ready to sell anti-air missile systems patriot to Ukraine. We know that Russia has been pounding Ukraine really heavily right now.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there, and
I can see you very, it's amazing.
and me with the kids. I'm in Moscow actually because he wanted to.
Is your husband a soldier now? He's there now?
God and all, like,
Wow, that's rough stuff. That stuff, and you're living here,
In Moscow.
and you're a reporter.
Yahweh.
Good. So, let me just tell you, they do want to have the anti-missile missiles, as they call them, the Patriots. And to see if we can make some available. They're very hard to get. We needed to. We were supplying them to Israel.
Yeah.
And they're very effective, 100% effective. Hard to believe how effective. But they do want that more than any other thing, as you probably know. That's a very good question. And I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see
So
it's
you're saying it's all off?
very upsetting to you.
Muslims.
So, say hello to your husband, okay?
I don't know that.
Oh, okay, so you don't know if the one that the Bible is describing is the one that you believe in?
Right, I don't have an intuition.
Yeah, 118, you gotta follow along. Do you believe it is a dream of light? Is your God?
Department of Homeland.
Just want to figure out.
Friday, you're partying because I think we should try
Yeah, I mean, you have the first class seats as far as there's a big plenty of room.
I'm lying to myself.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, so you're saying that.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand that? They don't know what.
Emotions, right? As far as whether or not I want it to be true.
At the CDC today, the nation's leading vaccine advisory body meeting to discuss and vote on several key immunization guidelines for the fall season. Among the agenda items, discussions on the safety of a well-tested ingredient found in some flu vaccines that has already been largely phased out, as well as recommendations surrounding RSV shots, particularly for children.
The horse for total. One ally, the United States, carries too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today.
I think that
President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible.
recommend just going.
Your leadership on this has already produced $1 trillion in extra spending from European allies since 2016. And the decision today will produce trillions more for our.
I didn't know until today that you married a man who's a lot older. Yes, 59, you're 27. Yes.
Today marks a 2-year.
Well, the Trump administration is giving the green light to a. Hey guys, it is a heavy morning, a hefty dose of
You want to know what I discovered after talking?
Okay, yeah. So here's the thing. This is different than the chat, buddy. Okay, now this is on stage. You don't get a chance to talk to everybody. So yeah, what's your point?
So we're gonna align our definition what we mean by subjective morality, right? So when you say morality is subjective, is that based on the society that determines morality, or is it based on the individual?
I'll be happy to go all into that. Here's my question. I already told you that as an atheist, my worldview is subjective, so it's subjective morality. Okay, there's no contradiction in saying you accept that morality is subjective. So do you just want to go down this route because you like doing philosophy? Because it's not going to disprove anything I'm saying if you prove that morality is subjective.
So if you say morality is subjective, to whom are you referring to? Who is the key?
I'll do that in a moment. What I'm just saying is, even if morality is completely subjective, there's still no God.
No, there will be God, right? There would be a power. There will be a being that would maybe not. I guess specifically, if you don't want to call it God, there would be a being that gives the law of morality that holds to.
So here's the way it works.
Here's the way it works.
Even if morality subjective, that doesn't mean you win by default. Okay, even if morality is subjective, that would mean that you still need to provide evidence that a God exists.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, right?
Why don't we just jump to that point? Why don't we just jump to that point?
So, I am jumping to that point. What you're saying is morality without a being or someone being subjective, right? The point of being objective morality is that there's something that is going to hold you accountable to keep that morals, right?
Would you say
objective? Would you agree with that?
No. That is the claim people make.
So you don't agree with that, I think.
I don't agree with that. I would simply say
So then Buddhists, I want to have a conversation with Abe. Okay. So who is the keeper of the morality, the subject morality?
Wait, Sheep, no. Why are you begging the question? You're like, who is the keeper of the morality? There's nobody who's the keeper of the morality.
Because you said subject. Then so everyone is the subjective morality, yes?
So I'll go into subjective morality. I'm happy to do that.
No, objective.
Yeah, I'll go into both of those. But I'm saying, are you conceding? Do you not have evidence for the God? Because I said to you, why do you believe?
No, I have evidence for God. Objective.
Okay, so let's confirm that the God exists. We're talking about what He wants us to do and who He wants us to have sex with. Okay, that's kind of important to make sure that He actually exists before you start telling me what you want me to do with my life.
Sure, go ahead.
Anyways.
Okay, why do you think God actually exists?
Because there is objective morality that is set for us human beings to make sure that everything operates as orderly as it's made to be.
Okay, how do you know that there's objective morality? And don't point to the book, okay? You know Honey's very impartial to the Bible. So don't point to the Bible and say, because the Bible says so. Do you have any type of scientific evidence that a God exists and that He has objective morals?
There's two things that you would fall into with the scientific evidence, right? If I was to present to you the scientific evidence, that's an experiment or a study that's done based on what we can see and understand and perceive, right? And so we believe that God is outside of time and that we cannot see Him, rather He reveals Himself to us. So science cannot prove whether God exists or not. But it does prove though, right, that God exists because we have orderly things that morality is one of them, right?
What do you mean by orderly things? What does that even mean?
Well, can I just interject? What does it matter whether or not we can prove God or not? Why don't you just look at the information and determine whether or not you like it and whether or not it's useful for you?
Because if I determine, if I determine, right, what is good or bad, then what may be good to me may not be good to you, John. So if I say I want to go steal John's house, right, and steal his whatever he's got, that's good for me and it benefits me, but it's not going to benefit you. So,
but it's amazing that the only thing you seem to have here is this fear mongering that if there's no objective morality, everything's going to break down. But you don't have any reason to think there is objective morality. Whereas from my viewpoint, I know morality is subjective. And society doesn't break down. You know why? Because you have millions of subjective people. They all want good stuff for themselves, but they also recognize the golden rule, which is that if I keep taking away people's houses, people are going to come take away my house. So that is the difference in subjective moral systems.
That is not true.
Let me finish. You try to fearmonger and say, oh, we need objective morality, which is still, by the way, an argument from pragmatism. It's not saying an argument from truth. You're saying we need an objective morality because society will break down. But the point is, there is no evidence for objective morality. Even if society would break down, it still wouldn't be fucking true.
That is not true, Abe, because there is a group of society in which that they determine that a specific people or a specific comment, that they as a society decided that group of people are not worth more than they are, right? That could be race, or that could be the Romans, that could be the Egyptians, or anyone that you could look at in history. As a society that have decided to value that their morality and their value is better and more important than anyone else. And so you're saying that is actually
morals change over time.
it's not objective
over time.
It's not objective. It changes.
It's correct. It's not objective. Yes. But by the very nature, in Roman times, like they literally, parents used to bring their children to watch the gladiator games in the Colosseum. And everybody loved it. They literally watched, they were fine with their children watching people get murdered in front of their eyes, and everyone was like, oh, did you see that? There were some people who didn't like it, but most people, they were fine with it. So the point is, nowadays, no parent, almost no parent, would take their child to the Colosseum to watch people get murdered because morals change.
To the western side, you don't know that in other places in the country.
Correct. I don't know that. I'm pointing out that it's subjective. Yeah, it's subjective.
So the problem with the subjective morality, this is what you would have, right? Because you have separated society, believe something else than the other, right? And you're assuming that because you have a subjective morality that...
And that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
It is a big problem. It's a big
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. No, I know what. No, let me finish. Plus. This is the reason why. Disagreement is a conflict, but it's not a problem. And furthermore, religious people, they have disagreements all the fucking time, even though they believe in objective morality. So you don't get out of this problem by saying, oh, if only morality was objective. You have a million Christian sects all arguing with each other, and they all believe in objective morality, and yet they can't agree on a single fucking thing. So, yes, humans are messy creatures. We sometimes have disagreements and conflicts. That's why it's important to have dialogue and debate and questioning and not have objective morality, which is essentially just trying to force your belief on somebody else, which is your subjective belief. Even right now, you telling me I believe in subjective morality, I believe in objective morality, that is your subjective view, and you're entitled to it. But I'm also entitled to point out that it's coming from you. There's nothing in the universe that is forcing us to believe in objective morality. It's all subjective.
Objective morality, but they can't agree on anything? What does that supposed to mean? They all believe in objective morality, but they can't agree on anything. That's literally what you said. Do you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah, it's subjective morality. By the way, most people, it's not like that. You should fear-mongering to make it sound worse. Most people agree on a lot of stuff. I'm sure literally in this room, if we took like the atheists and the theists, and we actually just started talking to them about all the other beliefs they have in their lives besides for the one thing they disagree on, the atheism or the theism, 99% of their beliefs are probably going to be the same. They both believe that they want their like loved ones and their families to be safe and healthy. They both believe they want a good paying job and a good place to live and a place that's not dangerous. Like literally all the shit they want. Theists and atheists want the same stuff. So yeah, already people tend to believe that human well-being is very important. Whoever you are, if they didn't believe that, they tend not to be living here. What usually happens is nature self-selects for the people who care about their well-being. They try to survive and have well-being. So the point I'm making is that yes, people can disagree on tiny things. With secularism and humanism, as long as people are starting off with a foundation of human well-being, we can now make moral judgments on what is correct or incorrect or right or wrong. And I'll give one example because I teach chess, so I love giving the chess analogy. The chess analogy is that the way pieces on a chessboard move is completely subjective. Like there's no logic why a rook moves up and down and a bishop moves diagonal. But once you accept that the rules of chess are what they are, which is that the pieces move like this, after that, there are 100% objectively good and bad moves. Like if you want to move your queen into a place that's going to get taken for a pawn, that is objectively a bad move 99% of the time. And because if you care about winning, you have to care about winning, which is well-being, right? Why would you play a game of chess if you're not going to try to win? So the point is, yes, once you have to accept that the rules of chess are what they are. But once you accept that they are what they are, the pieces and the strategies we can 100% assess objectively. And it's the same in life. Life is just like a game of chess. And once you accept that you care about your well-being, it is objectively wrong to just walk down the street and cut off someone's head. It just is objectively wrong. And that's the way I look at it.
Well, in order to be hypothetical imperative, more to the point, I think that's a hypothetical imperative, right? I want to win, therefore this is a good move, right? And that's still going to be held by a subject. The I want to win is a subjective thing, right?
Correct. And I acknowledge that. But what I'm saying is everybody does it. And that's all you need to have a functioning like society. And the idea, again, and if this is a philosophical issue, which I'm not convinced it is, it's not solved by saying we have a religion that has an objective morality. Like I told you, religious people fight all the time, and they all believe, or most of them believe in objective morality. So all I'm saying is like fear-mongering that religious people tend to do. They're like, oh, hey, you don't have any objective morality, so you can't, solve these problems. Well, you can't either, buddy.
Well, how many times are we going to say objective, subjective, subjective, objective?
We'll say it as many times as we need to.
Okay, so I know who John is now. So let me get this straight, though.
I remember who number 118 is.
You think it's okay to compare, right, like the universe and human beings and morality, right, and God to someone that created a chess game? Right? Like, I agree with God, but okay. But still, though, right? It's the analogy, just roll with me for a minute, right? So, in order to accept the chess game as objective and the moves to be objective in order to win. Alright, well, I think that's the same thing with God. In order to know, right, and realize that your heart is right about what is good, that you should not rape or kill anybody, and you should never rape anyone no matter what, ever, how you feel about it. And you should never kill anyone or take anyone's life when you're unjustified. The only way that makes that objective, right, is accepting the fact that it does come from God. And if not, then it's anybody's choice or game to what is right or what is wrong in this world. Just because we live in a world that we have currently 8 billion people on this planet, right? That's pretty hard to get just everyone to align on their own, right? That you shouldn't do these things that you know that you should not do or ought not do, right? I have the power and capability of doing a lot of things in this world, but I know I shouldn't do them because it's written on my heart that it's wrong, not just because I think that it's wrong or that I think that it's right.
Like coming on Clown House and running your mouth every single day about nothing?
You're really quiet, Sean. Can you get any closer?
Does that help? Is that better? Hey, what's up? Yeah, you're conflating like this objective assessment. Like the hypothetical imperative is letting you know if you care about something, right? That's what the hypothetical imperative is illustrating. Then we can make objective assessments. But you're not presenting us that with this objective reality that you're presenting to us by God. You're just, to me, it just sounds like you're emoting like, I don't like rape, I don't like murder. But then you're not telling me like where this fact of the matter is in reality, independent of you not liking it.
It has nothing to do with just my personal reference of not liking it, right? Everyone alive
to escape, Furiosa sacrificed her left arm with unwavering determination. She made it back to the Citadel. She found a discarded mechanical arm, gave it a good polish, then attached it to her stump and got a buzzer. Joe sent a few cars to oil town, kicking up a massive cloud of dust to create the illusion of a full-scale assault. Dementis watched the scene, decided to launch a bold attack onto the Citadel. Little did he know, every move he made was under watchful eye. Soon, Dementis was ambushed by Immortan Joe's army on his way. His troops were quickly defeated, and he narrowly escaped with a few of his men. While Joe's men were tallying up the spoils, Furiosa hopped into a vehicle and sped off in pursuit of Dementus. Before long, she caught up with his convoy. Dementus ordered his men to head in 3 different directions. Furiosa couldn't tell which one was the real Dementus, so she chased after one of the vehicles. Eventually, Furiosa ramming the escort motorcycles to the ground, then charged straight towards Dementus' bike. But on Dementus' bike sat an old man who threw a rag that blocked Furiosa's view. Fortunately, she braked just in time to escape.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is way more entertaining than sound. Yeah, you guys gotta quit it. Every time I make an assessment that something is wrong, I go out of my way to avoid it. It's like, what's the assessment? Hey, that's what the assessment of wrong is. Shut the fuck up. Hold on one second.
I'm gonna bring back 118 when he stops.
When he stops over talking, thank you very much. I will promise I'll be quick to you can totally go, right? All I'm saying is that when I make an assessment that something is wrong, what follows from that is I'm going to avoid it at all costs. I'm going to make conscious decisions to not encounter it in every way possible. That is what the wrong assessment means to me. So the very idea that you can now flip that on its head, and I'm going to go, oh, look, it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway, never, ever, ever occurs.
Yeah, I mean, look, I personally tend to agree with you, but I think it's actually a bit disputed in philosophy, like moral philosophy. Like, so there are views that say that, like, like moral realism is true, right? But they're not motivational, right? Like, there's no reason to think that you could know what the right thing to do is, but it would still not be motivational to you in any way. Like, I think this is like for example, Cornell realism is a view, right? That thinks that has this kind of approach. Again, that's not really my view.
Deepak, you're bringing the IQ of the room up. We have to keep it stupid. Don't say this. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the thing, Deepak. I'll steel man your argument because what's interesting to me is I read like some examples of like serial killers. And apparently there have been serial killers who, like, when they murdered people, like, they, like, threw up or they couldn't take what they were doing, but they did it anyway. So that actually got me thinking, I'm like, how could they, like, want to kill someone if it actually disgusted them? But that would kind of maybe go to what you were saying. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they still killed people. And they obviously felt that killing the person was worth throwing up at the very least. So there's still a type of like measurement going on there where they're like gauging what I want to do versus okay, I want to do this, but I kind of don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to do it.
Right, you're making the assessment that there's more to be gained doing so in terms of thrill.
Flags on the court are being able to share similar values, regularly show affection and express gratitude.
Right, but you do it anyway because you're making some assessment. And when I come home and I wake up the next day, I'm like, oh, I regret everything. Right? Sure, okay, that's me recognizing in hindsight that maybe wasn't such a good idea. But at the time that I was doing it, that's not what I was thinking. That's not the assessment that I actually made. The assessment I made is it wasn't wrong.
Yeah, but I think realists. Actually, it's easier for realists to hold this view, right? That like moral judgments, moral truths are facts about the world. They're just out there, like in some spooky way, but they don't like necessarily motivate behavior, right? Like it certainly wouldn't follow for them that like it's analytically true, right? That like if you know that something is wrong, then you shouldn't do it.
I think just
and you're just saying, oh, but he's doing this. But I'm trying to explain to you that if he could do that, that means other people can too.
That's adopting a particular sort of ethics, right? Like, talk about the meta-ethical part, like meaning, like what it is, like what the ontological status of morality is, right? How it relates to
How can we talk about the ontological status of morality without talking about the ontological reference of morality?
Okay, put it another way, right? Like I think Shani, what you're saying, I think would be like the correct description of what happens in the serial killer case, right? It's just, I agree with that. I think that's typically what happens is that like their values are in conflict, right? They end up going like some crazy other value that they have. But realists would look at it differently.
Oh, too
And
bad.
surely there's a small minority of psychopaths that we just wouldn't realise what they're doing wrong, and even if they did realise what they can, right?
I mean, an anti-realist view, like there's no concept of them not knowing what they're doing is wrong, right? Like from their subjective stance, like they're not doing anything wrong.
So much.
I mean, there are serial killers who will still admit, I think this is wrong, but they're kind of talking in the way that like society talks. They're just saying like, society doesn't want me to do this, but I kind of want to do it, so I'm not going to listen. So that's still making a judgment. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting Deepak was saying like, I think it comes closer to like the foundational claim of moral realism, which I think is untenable. I don't think you can show there's morals out there any more than you can show that like the platonic realm of numbers is real. Like I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but smart people hold the opposite view, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, when people like 118 starts talking about how Satan divided Adam and Eve and we live in Satan's realm, I mean, that's when my red flags go off, not my green flags, like when I study mathematics and calculus and things of that nature, which are actually, based in the real world, not this science fiction imagination la la land that people like to live in and project to you and expect that you respect and want to give, your ear to their fantasy, mythology stories.
I'd like to try and be at least a little bit charitable to the argument. What he was saying was that there is a law, and then from that follows something. There's something that's like very implicit in that statement. My take on that would be something along the lines of there's an undiscovered particle. And what it does, it influences things.
Well, I guess we can't get. I guess we can't even get to a day.
Undiscovered particle, the moraliton.
Okay, well, I guess we can't even get to a day.
Which actually exists, which actually has some sort of influence towards, the good or the right or whatever it is. I just don't think that that's
okay. Well, I guess we can't even get to a day.
Right, 100%. It doesn't fit in the standard model. There's no room for
sorry.
Almost the interaction is so weak that it doesn't even interact at all. Right, that's the problem, right? Is we gotta measure the interaction now, and I just don't think you're gonna get there. I don't think that have a good idea of what good is to be quantified and then measured in that way. And I mean, I think if you do that work and then you discover an undiscovered particle, awesome. I'm just not sure we would call it good, right? Not only that, we have strong empirical evidence that there can't be a moraliton because when we have millions of people dying from cancer and starvation and earthquakes, where's the moraliton's influence?
Have you read Confucius? Because Confucius deals with morals, ethics, virtues, governance. I mean, the Bible does as well. But, I mean, it's an important book. If you haven't read Confucius, you should probably read it because it's rather agnostic. It doesn't go into, the Jehovah Sky God. It talks about actual intelligent things like on how to govern and what are wise approaches to situations.
If you take your moraliton literally seriously, literally, right? I think that would be a straw man the view that most moral realists would have. Right? They're not viewing it as an object, like a particle that has causal interactions with the physical world. Right? It would be more akin to what you were describing, right? Like the platonic reality of numbers. Right? Like a lot of people are Platonists about numbers, right? And in their view, the numbers exist, but they don't interact. They're abstract entities that don't interact with concrete entities, and so the moral laws would be something like that.
Yeah, Deepak, you're not Platonist, right?
No. Although there's not decent arguments for Platonism for math, I think. I mean, I'll put it this way: I'm a hopeful Platonist about math. You know.
Yeah, hopeful. That's an interesting word to use. If you're interested in what's true, why would you be hopeful one way or the other?
Well, I mean, I'm actually hopeful, moral realist too in that sense, right? Like I meant in a more playful manner, right? Like I do think there's more reason to think that mathematical Platonism is true than moral Platonism. But I don't quite think it's.
So here's my only issue with it. Number one, I don't think there's sufficient reason to conclude in mathematical Platonism. But even if there was, by some like really, really weird coincidence, and the universe just happened to be Platonic in math, that doesn't mean we can now say, oh, there's a Platonic realm for morality, there's a Platonic realm for the government said you want to do your taxes. Like, I mean, you could just make a Platonic realm for anything and say, okay, listen to me and alter your behavior because I have a Platonic realm that fixing issues.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Just because you're a Platonist about some things, right, doesn't mean you have to be Platonist about other things, right? So I think more likely that mathematical Platonism is true than moral Platonism, but I don't think either are true. But
Imagine if I know you don't believe this, but imagine like if I just for the sake of the theists in the room, I'd be like I'm a atheist, I'm a Platonic atheist. I believe that there's like some objective realm that compels all of you to be atheists and to start sinning and drop this nonsense of religion. Like they wouldn't listen to me. They would think it's silly. So I'm just pointing out that it's equally silly on the opposite side.
The opposite side being
when theists say there's subjective morality because it's grounded in God, you need to listen to me. Yeah, I had no idea that Deepak was a mathematical Platonist. That's interesting. He's not. He said that he might be persuaded maybe, but not.
Hey, but I mean, you do agree though that in the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, there's verses in there which are useful to you in your personal life. I mean, do you deny that?
I think I do deny that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say there's not anything good in the Old Testament. There might literally be like one or two verses, but the vast majority of them are completely pointless and harmful and evil.
Okay, so like if I read you just a couple quick verses, I mean, you would agree with what you just said?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm sure you can pick out one or two verses that are like not completely.
I mean, it's not one or two; it's like thousands. FYI, I mean, I have them on 3x5 flashcards. I mean, it's intelligent. It's large language modeling. It's psychological in nature, and it's emotional intelligence. So that's.
There's good in almost every single book, right? I'm sure you could pick up like the most horrendous book and find at least one or two sentences that are useful for life.
I mean, this is from Proverbs, for example. Joyful is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. Let me ask you a question. Are you joyful and happy in your life?
Sometimes.
Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. I mean, my point is, I'm not going to keep reading these things. The point is, I just find great value in the neurolinguistic programming of the information to make me a happier, more successful person. Now, whether or not Jesus or God the Father exists is irrelevant to me. I enjoy the programming language.
Okay, well, are you a Christian or no?
To me, it doesn't matter if I worship the spaghetti monster. To me, it's a good book that gives me high value information.
Look, that's a pragmatic argument. That's fine, but I'm just saying, are you a Christian right now? And do you believe in the truth value of the claim? I believe
it. I believe that the book. I believe that the Bible is a high value book which should be read and studied thoroughly if you have the time.
You are such a dodger.
It's not a dodger. It's an irrelevant question. I'm trying to emphasize that the book is important, not whether or not I personally believe that Christ is Messiah.
And I acknowledge. Now, do you mind just answering whether you truly believe it?
No, I actually think that once you study it enough, you realize that it's all psychological and emotional education. And to think that Jesus Christ is the son of the Godfather like there's a lot of fantasy land in all this shit. But nonetheless, the emotional intelligence is the high value.
You're not a real Christian, then fine. You can believe in the Bible and read it to your heart's content, and you feel it helps you for your life. But that doesn't mean you believe in God. And
Well, it's still just your opinion that I'm not a real Christian. I don't know why you think personally that you are the arbitrator and the one who gets to tell me who I am, what, you may have a problem. It could be a you problem.
No, I'm fine if you want to identify as a Christian. I wouldn't say you can't identify as a Christian. What I'm saying is the vast majority of Christians I've ever talked to, they say you have to believe that God exists essentially and that Jesus rose from the dead. If you don't believe that, then you're just...
Well, it's a game, though. That's the point. You can't join a Freemasonic lodge unless you can verbally confirm that there is one God. And so the whole thing becomes one versus many, many versus one.
Okay, fine, Jordan Peterson. It's okay, fine.
Are you talking to me or Piper?
What is that?
I was talking to you, John.
You just understand this part, right? Everybody here wants to talk about whether there is a God, what religion is true, that kind of thing. We don't care that you have your fucking, Jungian interpretation of whatever the fuck. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, John, if you feel the Bible helps you in your life, good for you. We actually care about whether it's actually true. And also, if while you're at it, if you like reading books that help your life, might I recommend the Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, there's a lot of very good spiritual books out there. I've read them all.
Yeah.
Listen, the Dhammapada is fantastic. The Bhagavad Gita is fantastic. The Upanishads is fantastic. All these books should be studied. And if you just want to come on a social audio chat app all day long to do this debate, that's fine too. But what I'm saying is the wisdom in the books is the meat and potatoes, the fruits and the nuts, the milk and the butter. And you're missing the point that it is true. It's my opinion.
Can I show you the milk and the butter of the Bible? Because I think
go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Abe.
Yeah, sure. Hold on, let me get the verses out here.
It's like going to a movie and complaining about the movie that you just paid $10 for. It's like, try to enjoy it.
Yeah, I can say that the movie is shit.
I know, but it's still just your opinion. It's not a fact.
It's your opinion too, bro.
I know, and that's the point, is it's everybody's opinion. But you seem to think that you know everything.